As you know, the UK left the EU political structures and the European Parliament on January 31st in 2020. Now, a lot of Brexiteers blame the government for not implementing Brexit properly, and others want the UK to join the EU again. But the EU, of course, moved forward after the UK left. And so, in the next weeks, I will make a test here on the channel by bringing news about the EU in one of my daily videos. That's supposed to keep people informed what the UK left and what people want to return to make informed decisions and give it a more fact-based approach. And since my magazine channel is reserved for information on the development of the Russian war of aggression against Ukraine for the time being, that is just one more reason to do it right here. But as you know, I anyway believe that exactly you, my audience here on this channel, needs this information. And of course, there is a new playlist EU, so look out. But now let's talk about today's topic. The first report on the state of the digital decade, published last week, provides a comprehensive look at progress towards achieving the digital transformation to empower a more digitally sovereign, resilient, and competitive EU. It includes an assessment of the EU's performance towards Europe's 2030 objectives and targets focusing on four main pillars. That's digital skills, digital infrastructure, digitization of businesses, including the use of artificial intelligence or AI, and digitization of public services. It also includes the monitoring of the European Declaration on Digital Rights and Principles, which reflects the EU's commitment to a secure, safe, and sustainable digital transformation, putting people at the center. The 2023 report, which is the first of a series of annual reports, is a call to member states for collective action to address the current investment gaps, but also accelerate digital transformation in Europe and intensify efforts to reach the objectives of the Digital Decade Policy Programme, the DDPP. The DDPP was adopted by the European Parliament and the Council and entered into force on January 9th in 2023, and includes a system of collaborative governance between the EU and national authorities. The 2023 report's horizontal recommendations and the country-specific recommendations present a clear and operational way forward. The recommendations will be the basis for discussion and collaboration between the Commission and the Member States on how to achieve their common goals. And this work will be supported through the implementation of large-scale multi-country projects, including the newly introduced European Digital Infrastructure Consortia. Under the current 2030 target, gigabit coverage should be available for everyone and 5G performant networks in all populated areas. Currently, fiber networks, which are critical for delivering gigabit connectivity, only reach 56% of households, while 5G coverage stands at 81% of the population, dropping to 51% in rural areas. However, the deployment of 5G standalone network is lagging, and 5G is still falling short in quality with regard to end users' expectations and industry needs. 55% of rural households are still not served by an advanced network, and 9% are not yet covered by any fixed network at all. Additional investment of up to at least 200 billion euros is needed to ensure full gigabit coverage across the EU, as well as 5G coverage in all populated areas. Member states should map their connectivity gaps and explore financing to complement private investment in areas that are not commercially viable, including rural and remote areas, benefiting from the pro-investment EU regulatory framework. The current 2030 target is for the EU to double its share in the value of global production of cutting-edge semiconductors, reaching from current 10 to 20% of the global market share in value. To achieve this target, the European Chips Act, which entered into force on September 21st, aims at developing a thriving semiconductor ecosystem and resilient supply chains. Member states should promote national policies and investments to further stimulate domestic chip design and manufacturing capabilities, and to boost local skills in advanced technologies across sectors. The DDPP sets 3 targets to foster the digitization of businesses. At least 75% of EU enterprises should adopt in their operation cloud computing services, big data and/or artificial intelligence. More than 90% of small and medium-sized businesses should reach at least a basic level of digital intensity, measuring the use of different digital technologies at enterprise level. And they want to double the number of unicorns, that's companies with a valuation of over 1 billion euros. With further investment and incentives, the projected baseline trajectory indicates that by 2030, only 66% of businesses will use cloud, 34% big data, and 20% AI. Furthermore, based on the latest available data, only 69% of EU SMEs reach a basic level of digital intensity, with uneven and insufficient progress among member states. To improve the take-up of technology, member states should raise awareness about the benefits of digitizing businesses, as well as promote and support the European digital innovation hubs. The number of EU-based unicorns has increased significantly in the past decade. A continuation of the trend would allow the EU to meet its targets before 2030, but is no ground for complacency in volatile markets. Moreover, differences with other advanced economies remain. At the start of 2023, there were 249 unicorns based in the EU compared to 1,400 in the US and 330 in China. The DDPP targets provide for 100% online accessibility of key public services and, where relevant, the possibility for citizens and businesses in the Union to interact online with public administration, online access to their electronic health records for 100% of Union citizens, and access to secure electronic identification for 100% of Union citizens. Many member states are well positioned to achieve the full digitization of public services and health records, as well as the deployment of the eID for their citizens. However, significant investments are needed to improve the cross-border availability and performance for public services. Regarding the European Digital Identity Wallet, its full deployment is underway. It is expected to be completed by 2030 and complemented by the digital euro proposed in June 2023. The EU is committed to increasing basic digital skills among at least 80% of those aged 16 to 74 and to reach 20 million ICT specialists by 2030. However, the report shows that by 2030 and under the current conditions, only 59% of the population will master at least basic digital skills, and the number of ICT specialists may not exceed 12 million. Member states need to prioritize investments in high-quality education and skills and to foster women's participation in STEM, that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, from an early age. The report highlights the pioneering role of the EU in creating a secure, safe, and human-centered digital transformation, as anchored in the European Declaration on Digital Rights and Principles. The EU has introduced relevant policy and legislative measures, such as the Digital Services Act, the AI Act, the European Media Freedom Act, and the Communication on Virtual Worlds. The report tracks the ongoing efforts to make the digital transition greener. Measures such as the Right to Repair initiative, the eco-design criteria for mobile phone and tablets, and the EU Action Plan for Digitization of Energy Systems will reduce the environmental impact of digital technologies. Further investments via national recovery and resilience plans or joint investments are also crucial to foster the full transition towards net zero to digital solutions, along with improved monitoring mechanisms to measure the environmental footprint of electronic communication services. The 2030 Digital Decade Program outlines the importance of international cooperation to promote the EU's values with like-minded partners. Progress was made towards this goal through digital partnership with Japan, the Republic of Korea, and Singapore, as well as trade and technology councils with the United States and India. The EU also stepped up to support the digital transformation of Ukraine, bringing the country into the EU free roaming area. The report also includes recommendations on actions, measures, and policies in areas where progress is insufficient. Member States will outline the actions they intend to take to reach the objectives and targets in their national roadmaps to be published by October 9th. Within 2 months after the adoption of the report, the Commission and Member States will discuss preliminary observations with a focus on the recommendations issued by the Commission in its report. Proposed in September 2021, the Path to the Digital Decade outlines concrete steps to foster innovation and investment in the areas of digital skills, digital infrastructures, digitalization of businesses and public services. And this was complemented in December 22 by the European Declaration on Digital Rights and Principles. And we will see how the progress will go on. I will definitely keep an eye on that. And if you want to see another video right now, the next one is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.